Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I'm just going to read a brief excerpt from the very beginning of this book, the introduction, Writing and Authority in Early China by Mark Edward Lewis. This book is about the uses of writing to command assent and obedience in early China. It does not deal explicitly with the opposition between the written and the oral, nor does it attempt to assess the changing forms or degree of literacy. Instead, it examines the types of writing employed in state and society to generate and exercise power. It situates writing within the forms of control, examining the role that it played in the formation of diverse groups who claimed the right to instruct and to command. The title pairs writing with authority because the latter word is commonly applied in the political, intellectual, and religious realms, and the powers of written graphs in early China lie in the intersection of these areas. The book deals primarily with the Warring States period, that is, the centuries leading up to the creation of the first unified empires, but it concludes with a discussion of the reasons for and consequences of the establishment of an official state canon roughly 1 century after political unification. Most studies of writing focus on the questions of orality and literacy noted above, rather than its roles in the generation of authority. In this introduction, I will sketch at least 6 such roles noted in Western studies. 1. The use of writing as a technique of state power, primarily in the form of administrative and legal documents. 2. The creation of groups through the shared experience of reading a common body of materials. 3. The transcending of time and space. 4. The invention within texts of figures of authority, often the implicit author, who both speak to the readers and offer models for social roles. 5. The use of written graphs to create or preserve artificial or technical languages whose mastery distinguishes elements within a society. And 6, the treatment of written graphs as magical or sacred objects containing hidden meanings and powers. All these roles figured also in Warring States China. I've never read a writer who, as much as does Mark Edward Lewis, tells you in advance, I am going to write about this. I am going to touch on this, this, and this. And then he does touch on this, this, and this. And then at the end, he concludes. Every chapter has a conclusion. I touched on this, this, and this. At least that's how it is with this book and the book of his that I just finished, Sanctioned Violence in Early China. I read that because I wanted to read the paragraph he devotes to number 5 in the list, which he just gave you. I found it very interesting. A 5th aspect of the power of writing derives from the distinction between written languages and spoken ones. The differences could be little more than a larger vocabulary and longer, more elaborate sentences. They might include a distinct literary grammar, as in French. At their greatest, the literary language is a distinct tongue, such as Latin or Sanskrit. But the difference always exists, and only the educated in any society employ its written forms. Consequently, all written languages are a form of expertise, and those who master them gain new abilities or powers. The shared experience of education also sets apart those proficient in the written language as a distinct and self-conscious group. Certain people acquire further technical vocabularies, imparting mastery of law, medicine, or other disciplines. Writing can also lead to skills involving structured knowledge that is not linguistic, as in mathematical or musical notation. So, as somebody who has devoted a good portion of his life to writing, I find that a very interesting way of looking at this activity, which so many of us engage in. Thank you for stopping by my channel.